GWATA TV gives you a first look at North Central Washington's business news. You'll hear from our local business, tech, and education companies as Jenny discusses hot topics and current events with some of the best innovators and pioneers in North Central Washington.
Hello, North Central Washington, and welcome to GWATA TV. I'm your host, Jenny Rojanasatian, and it's a pleasure to be on air with you today. GWATA is a 501c3 that focuses on technology, entrepreneurship, and STEM education. And we're so honored to have the opportunity to have our very own TV show right here on the NCW Life channel, where we have the opportunity to interview guests on different topics. This season, we've been focused on workforce of the future and broadband, two really important topics and impact areas for our region. I'm so excited that on today's episode of GWATA TV, I get the chance to interview Dimitri Mandelis. Dimitri is one of the founders of LocalTel. LocalTel is an incredible company providing a lot of resources across North Central Washington, including being one of the parent organizations of this very own TV show. Dimitri and I are going to talk about broadband, fiber, and their SkyFi program and what's ahead for their organization. Stay tuned. We'll be right back on air with Dimitri. Welcome back to GWATA TV. I'm here with Dimitri Mandelis from LocalTel. So excited to interview you today, Dimitri. Thank you for coming on air.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
It's not often that we get you behind the camera to talk about the incredible programs of LocalTel, so thank you for spending a few minutes with us.
Yes, well, you know how thrilled I am about doing interviews. so yes, I'm here.
Well, as an advocate for our nonprofit, you go out there and share your story for us regularly, so thank you for doing that.
Sure.
And it's all about the community, and LocalTel does a lot for the community. You're an organization with several different services. Let's do a kind of a lay of the land. If someone is not familiar with LocalTel, what you do in our community?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, we primarily we provide phone services, internet, TV, cable TV. So we have about 250 channels that are in Chelan County, Douglas County, and Grant County. We have a security company that puts in fire alarm systems and security systems. And then we do wireless internet for where there's not fiber. Okay, so we lead with fiber in all those counties, but when there's no fiber, then we have wireless towers that we build at different locations. And we have about 260, 270 of towers right now, and probably around 500 to 700 different access points. And so normally we can find a way to get you some high-speed internet if you are not in a fiber area and you want high-speed internet. We also are kind of the parent company to NCW Life, yes. And so we offer on these towers, and some of the towers have NCW Life broadcasting equipment, but it also has ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, and other channels that are on some of these same towers that we maintain. And so that's so if you don't have even internet or anything, you could still turn on it in a lot of places and put your rabbit ears up. They're not rabbit ears anymore, right, but they're like rabbit ears, yeah. and tune into a TV station that we're broadcasting across those towers themselves. So we're also involved in PIBUS and other things.
Oh,
too.
And community efforts,
yeah,
and sure. a huge part, and your team, your employees are really involved and dedicated to our communities. LocalTel has only grown over the years, and probably a industry where you have a lot of the giants kind of taking down markets and sure. shutting down the operations. LocalTel continues to thrive. That SkyFi program is something. When did you bring on the SkyFi program?
It was about 5 years ago, I think, maybe 6 years ago at the most. And it was, and we had merged a couple smaller companies in with us who had wireless build-outs, very small ones. So we kind of took that with the companies that we merged in, and then we decided to try to expand out that wireless. And plus, at the same time, the technology was changing, so you could go way faster with the wireless. And so we kind of got lucky and got in at the right time and just started building towers and putting. Our wireless is different than like mobile wireless. Where mobile, you go anywhere you want and you have a connection. This one is we put a radio in your house. It points up at a tower on the mountain, and it's fixed, right? But it's good high speed for that home kind of thing. And so we just started doing that, and just adding as demand. People would call us and say, "Boy, can you get internet here?" We would try to find a way, and so that's what we've done. And then we merged two companies, one from Grant County and another one from Lincoln County in January. And so that added another 67 towers up towards, the kind of the Wilbur, Odessa, Davenport area. And so we're expanding out slowly, but it's just a lot of work to build a tower and get it up there, get it working properly, and then get to people's homes to point up at the stuff. So.
And I can only imagine how much work it is to do that, but it's provided an alternative to digging out fiber lines to where some PUDs couldn't get out to these places, right?
Exactly.
So
and that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
And some of these places, the PUDs will eventually get there.
Okay.
And then once they get there, we move them to fiber. But there's always going to be homes around there that are still a ways away from the fiber or the build out. Even though they're close, they're still a half a mile away, and it's still really expensive to do that last mile. So we'll still have some wireless customers on that. So, but it's a good interim. Hopefully someday everything will be fibered up and gigabit speeds and stuff. But it'll be a while. Yeah.
Well, from just what you've seen the last 20 years,
sure.
Chelan County is huge as far as the connections. As you mentioned earlier, you're in Grant County and expanded out there. You recently opened another office in Grant County as well.
We opened an office in Grant County a couple years ago to help in that growth market, and it's doing quite well actually. And that gets us kind of a foothold into the Lincoln and Adams County out there. So we have a small office in Odessa right now and it's we just started that in January and stuff. So we're starting to expand, but we're kind of had won a government contract, and part of that contract was to deliver internet out to these rural areas. They're very small rural areas. For example, the town of Wilbur is not even in that rural area. It's too big. These are places that have like 3 people and 5 people and 1 person, and so they're very, very rural. But we'll use these existing towers to get out to these people.
And provide them with access.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. It's technology, and you are a leading technology entrepreneur.
Forgot to turn that off.
So it makes sense that you'd be getting calls while you're live in the studio.
Sorry about that.
It's no problem.
Okay.
Well, I want to go further into the Connect America and what you're doing for rural communities, but we do have to head to a commercial break. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with Dimitri Mandelis. Welcome back to GWATA TV here on the NCW Life channel. We have Dimitri Mandelis on air with us today, and we have been talking about LocalTel, your myriad of services, but really specifically broadband and fiber and access. And you were recently awarded this past fall a Connect America grant funding, federal funding.
Yes.
What is Connect America, and what does that look like in our communities?
So the Connect America Fund, it was Connect America Fund 2.
Okay.
There was a Connect America Fund 1, that was a few years ago. So the 2 is for very rural areas, and it was across nearly the entire country. And the FCC had, I think, budgeted like $2 billion to try to get these extremely rural areas connected. And so there was a bidding process for every county along the way. In fact, within the counties, there was parcels that they showed you. These are the parcels we want to cover, and these parcels came from the census that was done 10 years before, or well, it would be 2010, right? Or, yeah, because they're going to do a new one this year. So based on that census, they said, well, these areas have no internet at all, and they're probably using satellite internet if they have any internet. And so we bid on it for 5 counties, for Grant, Chelan, Douglas, Adams, and Lincoln County, and we won all 5 counties. And so we're in the process of expanding out into those counties. And most of it is, since they are so rural, there's no fiber there. There may be someday. The PUDs have, all the PUDs have said they're going to continue their build-outs. But today there's not any. And so this is a 10-year grant, but the build-out's over 6 years.
Okay.
And and within 3 years, we need to have 40% of these customers covered. They don't actually have to get the service from us, but they have to, if they want.
It's like the opportunity.
Yeah, they have to have the opportunity to get it.
To get service.
And it has to be a reliable 25 by 3. So 25 meg down, 3 meg up. And so 25 meg down will let you run 3 or 4 Netflix movies at the same time, plus play some video games and be on a phone call.
So it's pretty good connectivity.
It is. It's, a 4K video connection would burn the whole thing up, okay? Okay. But if you're not trying to do 4K, you're just trying to do HD, it'll work great for most Netflix stuff. And so that's what we're trying to do. We have about 260 to 270 towers, and many of them are in these rural areas already, but we need more, and smaller ones, because there's not very many people. We'll go into places where there's going to be, maybe 5 homes or 3 homes. Some I've even seen are just 2 homes. So how do we get to those areas cost efficiently and deliver this high speed, and let them know they have this new option too? So that's our task, and we've been trying to plan it. How do we get to these people? How do we get the internet, to them wirelessly? So it might be 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 hops of different towers to get out to that location, and then.
And as you said earlier, this is a radio connection.
These are all wireless. Yeah. So there's normally a radio on one tower and a radio on another tower 10 miles away, and they connect together, and then there might be 3 homes there. And then we'll go to another tower, maybe another 10 miles away, and there'll be 2 homes there, right? And so it's kind of this build out. And we want to try to build a kind of a ring, so that if you have a failure of a piece of equipment, not everything is down past it. You can kind of come in from the other way and get to them. So we're trying to build a ring out to these very remote areas. And so it just takes time to kind of design where you want to go, and then go to the landowners and see if they'll let us put any equipment on their home or on their business or on their grain silo, or let us build at a certain tower location where we'll build a tower just for that location, and then get leases for that. So it just takes a while to get the approvals to do all this and then build it out. So that's what we're in the process of doing right now.
And hearing that you're having to do 40% up in 3 years means you're probably having to get a rapid plan.
Yeah. Well, actually, we are trying to go rapidly, but it turns out that the 40% is actually the easiest number, because we're already in those areas. So some of our towers, we're already servicing these people. So I think the first 40% will be pretty much done. It's just this last 60% what's going to be hard, because we may be close, but the next 2 people are 20 miles away. We'll need to have, we only go about 10 miles per shot at the most, and so we're going to have 2 small location hops, and we want to put them in the right spot so we can pick up all the people we can along the way. So it's a real project management kind of need there. Plus, then you need the people to be able to build it, and then you need the technology of people to be able to connect it. And then eventually you want to get right to the internet, and you want it to be fast still. And so it's just a lot of planning. But we've been doing this for about 5 or 6 years, and so we're getting pretty decent at it. So. Well,
and it's so important, kind of as I mentioned earlier. I love that it's a local company truly doing this work, because you guys are all about service, community. You employ local people who stay here.
It's in our name.
Yes.
It's who we are. Okay.
Yeah.
And so we're local everything, and so we are hiring people along the way. We're looking for people in the Adams County, Lincoln County area so we don't have to drive 3 hours. Plus, once we build it, we have to maintain it, right? Make sure it doesn't, and all this technology, it all fails, from time to time. It's always something going on.
Well, you're a lifetime technologist.
Yeah. So you normally have to have 2 of everything, and because you got to expect things to fail. So we're busily trying to find the right people, come up with a plan, and at the same time maintain the 260 towers we have right now. So that takes a bunch of people to do, to keep that equipment working all the time. And then at the same time, we need a big building. So we do have to add And we're planning adding probably 5 to 10 more employees to do this build out. So.
Why do you, for maybe you personally or for LocalTel, why is getting more service out there important to your organization? Why is that access so important?
Well, I think it brings, first, it's in our nature to do that, to expand and improve and stuff. It's just who we are, okay? But at the same time, this kind of technology being out there really allows people to live there and produce and be more productive, enjoy their life out there better, and be more in touch. And the price, used to be super expensive. The price has dropped on wireless equipment, or it's just gotten better for the same price, like faster speeds and stuff. So they can do quite a bit now out there. Once it's set up, they can do all their Netflix, do all their business, have their websites, do their mail, do their video conferencing,
work from home.
Work from home, work on the business, yes. Put these, these things up on the tower so they can monitor the fields, for growth. And so we have some of the towers have, local farmers and stuff that put stuff up there so they can see how wet the soil is or how good the, it's just part of all this new technology that's going into farming. And so to have a good connection to the internet is important too.
And that's obviously a huge part of our economy.
Totally. And when you get out there and you start seeing what is out there, it's just farmlands and just incredible amounts of circles and other things that are growing out there. I don't know what they are, but I'm sure somebody's eating it, and so it's amazing. Right. Yeah, so I could see every crop circle having an internet connection because they're going to want to track, how well it's working, or if it's failed, or what it looks like, or maybe a video camera, or whatever, and so.
And the next wave is really that precision agriculture, which is, could be a whole nother episode here on GWATA TV.
Sure.
But the automation, the innovation, and the technology to produce our food is rapidly changing as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's the internet of everything, right? And everybody wants to be able to have a connection. They have a need right there. How cold is that? How dry is it? What do we have to do to make it better, kind of thing. And the internet helps that.
And speaking of all these changes, I know something that you and I have talked offline about is the support of students, because we need these students.
Sure.
Going into computer science.
Absolutely.
Going into engineering. Going into these fields so that we can continue to innovate in North Central Washington. And that's something that you've shared your passion for. Well,
we not only just passion for it, it's just we need people that are talented, who have some experience in it and some knowledge in it. And it's just hard to find it. There's a lot of people going different paths through the schools, but we need people that understand that not just how to use the technology, but what's behind the technology that makes it work, that makes it look simple. When you click on this thing, why did that work, and why did that go over to that thing and make it work? And so, all of that is great. We have a hard time finding students, and we train most of our own people to do the things we need to do. They come out of college very trained, but not on the things that we need most of the time. So we have to add our own training to kind of specialize. These are the things that we want to do, that we do every day. So I'm all for that. I'm all for the trade schools where they learn, operating systems and networking and computers and applications, because that's really the future.
And how to problem solve.
Absolutely, yeah. And in order to problem solve, you have to understand how the technology works. From the layers up, to go, if it's failing here, it's because of probably these things, and so it just takes time for people to learn that and how all that technology works together. The funny thing is that I think it's once you have learned it, it's really not that complicated. It really isn't, but it just seems that way until you kind of learn these different layers. And once you learn the layers of technology, you kind of can really troubleshoot well.
And people get intimidated by technology so often.
Yeah.
So
well, they like to use it.
Right.
Yeah, but they don't. Not many seem to really want to get into, what's behind the curtain.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I do know, you may not be aware, but the Hour of Code goes on all across North Central Washington. Actually, we had several LocalTel employees volunteer this year to go in and talk with parents and kids and volunteer to teach them that technology, so we can start that education really early and grow that workforce.
Absolutely.
Well, Dimitri, as much as you love coming on air, we'll have to have you on next year to give an update on Connect America. Yes,
Oh, great.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us
Yes.
today. And for our audience, we do need to head out to a commercial, but I'll be right back in a minute. I want to thank you for joining us on GWATA TV today, and a special thank you to Dimitri Mandelis for sharing about LocalTel, their Sky-Fi program, and how they're bringing more access across the region. Check out all of our episodes online on the NCW Life channel or the GWATA website, and we'll see you next week.
Since 1999, GWATA has served as North Central Washington's Tech Alliance. As a 501c3, our mission is to bring people and technology resources together to create a thriving community. Through our work, we aim to inspire, engage, and connect.